How I like to do my map talks is I like to go over the callouts first, and then I go over rollouts, and then I go over like pushing and defending certain areas, starting from our last, and then we make our way to their last. So first thing I'm going to do is go over the callouts, starting on our last. It's going to be exact same on their last, except I guess mirrored, kind of. Right on top of spawn, this is called heaven. Like all of this upper area is heaven, right? To differentiate it, we on red side call red heaven, this right side area, right heaven. And then the left is left heaven. Vice versa, if you're on blue team, you'd call the left side left heaven and right heaven. So it's just directional based off of your team color, right? In front, we have the point, and then starting on this right side doorway here, this doorway is called 1. And the reason it's called the number 1 is because right here on a better graphics config than mine, there is a giant number 1 above the doorway. This doorway right next to 1 is 2, because on a better graphics config, there is a number 2 right here. Right, so 1, 2, and then continuing the number theme, we have 3, 4, and 5. 3, 4, and 5 all lead into lobby. All of this concrete area is lobby. You can differentiate it a little bit. The upper area is upper lobby and the lower area is lower lobby, but this middle platform is just lobby. Going out onto second, connecting to upper lobby is upper IT, and then obviously inside of upper IT is just IT. The reason why this whole area is called IT is because there are computers here. This is like a lab area. And then, again, to differentiate, you can call the bottom area lower IT. Upper lobby and 2 lead into bats, or rollout. The reason why it might be called rollout is because your team rolls out through this area to middle. This upper left area is shaped like a trapezoid, so guess what? It's called trapezoid. You have your forward spawn, you have the second point, and then all of this area here, you can call it concrete, or you just call it like right next to point, behind point, whatever your team wants to call it. In front of the point, this specifically this slope right here is pipe. And then this yard area is just yard, or you can just say in front of choke or in front of sewer. That house structure is sewer. I'll get to that in a second. So yard, in front of choke, in front of sewer, whatever your team wants to call it. On the right side, we have this area is called multiple things. Some teams call it Al-Qaeda, some teams call it JFK, suicide spot, whatever your team wants to call it. The reason why it's called Al-Qaeda is because soldiers love to just bomb through this area onto your medic. Oh, hold on. CL HUD, player class, this one, there we go. And then the house, like I said, this area is sewer, because on an earlier version of the map, this was actually shaped like a sewer, so the name stuck through the versions. Also, if any of you have any questions, feel free to just unmute and speak up at any time, or you can type it in classroom chat. I'm looking at classroom chat. Right, so the thing I just walked through, this is choke. And then from choke, we come into middle. We have our rock versus their rock. We have, again, sewer shutter right there, and then above sewer, or the awning, or some sort of roof. Red crate and blue crate, pretty obvious, or you can just say above the point. Here's the entrance to IT, and you got another forward spawn, so this is their forward spawn versus, sorry, no, that's our forward spawn, and that is their forward spawn. Alright. And then on either side of the map, right next to forward spawn, these two areas, these two grassy patches, that is called Death Corner, which I'll get to once we start going over rollouts. So that's all of the callouts. Are there any questions about that? Alright. Then I will start going over rollouts. We're gonna go demo, and then both soldiers, and then the rest of the team. So I spawned right here. Let me place a ragdoll down. Let me place this correct color. And then your spawns are going to be randomized every time you join the server. They will be the same spawns every time a new round starts, but every time you join a server, your spawn gets randomized. So right there, I spawned right there. Maybe your medic spawns over there. You have like scouts in between them, and then a soldier behind, and then a soldier over there. Notice how your medic has to go through a few people before he can catch your demo man. So it's very important. If you are not the demo and you are not the medic, everyone else should be crouching in spawn. Don't jump, nothing else, just crouch in spawn so that your medic can immediately heal your demo man. In that way, your medic can give your demo man a 260 overheal. Your demo man does a short jump, and if he is still within range of your medic, the medic should continue to heal the demo man back up to 260. Afterwards, once you're able to move, the medic should then heal the roamer to 300, whichever one the roamer is. So demo man, you do one jump towards this right shutter. This is the more common rollout. It's a little bit slower compared to other ones you might see from higher division players, but in my opinion, it's the most consistent for newer demos to do. You place a sticky on this forward pillar, and oh, I received a DM. Hold on. Can you get Fusco? No, I'm not doing that right now. So you place a sticky on this forward pillar, you walk in front of it, and at the same time you want to be jumping in front of it as well. So you see me crouch jumping in front of this sticky, and your goal is to hit a ramp slide there in 2. So ramp slide in 2, pick up the health bottle if you need it, otherwise you continue forward. Right here you see this doorway. Some demo men might place a sticky right there. This is just for newcomer players or like low amateur players. You're aiming to place a sticky either slightly below halfway on the doorway or on the halfway mark. That's where I find the sweet spot to be for this one. And then you just come up, slide against this door, jump at the same time, and you're aiming to hit a ramp slide and choke. So you want to take it a little bit wide and then strafe into choke, and you should hit that ramp slide. Process can be a little tricky, this second jump for demo man, so the best advice I can give is just practice this and then you'll get more consistent at it. And as you're rolling out, before you reach middle, very important for demo man to call which side they're going. That way your team knows which side to go, right? If you don't call it, then your team is very confused on where you're going. So very important, demo man or the main caller, whichever one, calls which side you're going before you reach middle. So, for example, I'll go on the left side here as Demo Man. Whichever side you're going as Demo Man, you want to start... Well, I guess first, hold on. You want to shoot maybe 1 or 2 stickies across it there, Demo Man, just to put some damage into him. Maybe you kill him for some reason, something like that. Afterwards, you want to start trapping off the high ground, whichever side you're going towards. That way, the enemy team has a harder time of taking that height, and your team has an easier time of taking that height. And during these rotational mid-fights, Demo Man and Soldier kind of go hand in hand, they kind of leapfrog. So first, Demo Man shoots high ground so that soldiers can take it. And then the soldiers take that high ground, allowing your Demo Man to walk forward, right? After your demo man walks forward, he continues shooting forward at high ground. That way your soldiers can take that high ground. And so it's a leapfrog situation here. That's just the very beginning of how you want to play middles as demo man. Same thing on the right side. Maybe shoot 1 sticky at their demo man, and then as you rotate over here, you shoot the high ground so that your soldiers can take it. Your soldiers take it, and then you walk forward and continue shooting across. Are sticky pogos just a more advanced way of getting to the point? I see some demos do it sometimes. You're probably talking about the Kaitis rollout, where he does some sort of crouch det right here, and then he does another sticky jump right there and ramp slides and choke. That is very advanced, and you are not expected to do it at newcomer amateur. It's just, if you're able to do it, it gives you a huge advantage over the demo man because you land right here. And then you can just shoot their demo man with 2 stickies and you kill him. how to play Uber Disad, I'll go over that later. Right now I'm just talking about rollouts. So that's Demo Man for the very beginning of the mid-fight. Now I'll talk about Roamer. So I'm starting right here. Roamer, crouch and spawn. That's all you do. Once you're able to move, you start walking towards the doorway and your medic should heal you to 300. And then again, there are a bunch of different areas you can jump off of. Like some soldiers like immediately do a left jump here and then do a ramp slide into. I find it to be the most consistent if you just again walk forward to this right pillar, jump off of it, pogo, ramp slide into. Come out to second, you're going to immediately turn right and do another rocket jump off of this wall, and you want to try to go as horizontal as you can with this platform on second. That way you can pogo off of it, and you should be able to ramp slide in choke if you are a lot better than me at soldier. Like that, and then if you wanted to, you could do another rocket jump, another rocket right here in choke as you're ramp sliding, and you go high in the air. That's the, like, very common roamer rollout on this map. And if you do it correctly, you should be able to land, like, over there if you, like, hit it perfectly. Otherwise, the second best would be, like, on their health pack. So, as roamer, my best advice for these mid-fights is don't do the same thing every time. You want to mix up your plays because in an ideal world, the enemy team catches on and they adapt to you if you continue to do the same thing. For example, if you continue to land on the enemy demo man every single mid-fight, ideally they would catch on to that, they would adapt to it, and then you would no longer be able to kill him. Instead, you just died and got nothing. So you want to mix up your plays almost every mid-fight. Of course, if it works, it works. Like, if you continue to kill him, sure, continue going for it. But my best advice is just mix it up. So a play that you can do is hit that rocket jump and choke, land on the demo man, kill him. That is one play you can do. Another play you can do is like I did not do the rocket jump and choke. Instead, you saw me just ramp slide through it. One play is you just walk up to this glass window and you just shoot across at them. So in this way, you are kind of, if you hit your rocket, you're kind of bringing down their health, softening them up, and you are making it so it's hard for them to hit you. Because you have cover here, you just like corner peek them, so it's hard for them to hit you, you're preserving your health, and then once an ideal situation comes up, you're able to just bomb across onto them. What should you do if you beef the ramp slide jump and are stuck at choke during mids? If your team is stuck in choke during mids, you guys should just leave. Because you have no positioning, the enemy is just going to take all of the high ground and shoot down onto you. So if your team is stuck there, your team should just leave. If you're stuck here, you shouldn't be because your team is somewhere else, so you just jump towards them. For a medic's perspective, how can you dodge a demo flying at you? If a demo man is flying at you, then theoretically he's throwing, because your scouts should just be able to easily clean him up. But if your scouts like are trash at this game and they can't hit shit, then you know, like, you see a sticky land on the ground, just jump, he deaths, and then you just surf away, right? Surfing is the best answer. If you can't surf, then you're just dead. Alright, so those are two plays. Land on Demo Man, play like over there. Another play is play on passive high ground. So instead of like jumping forward, you jump to the sides here wherever your team is rotating. So if your team's going right, you can stand above sewer. If your team's going left, you can be above forward spawn. So you're on this passive high ground, you can shoot across the point, and then continue rotating with your team. Once you see a good opportunity to, there's a bunch of high walls that you can bomb off of. So just mixing it up. My best advice for soldier in general is don't be the main focus of the enemy team early on during the mid-fight. You, as soldier, want to try to preserve your health for as long as possible before you go in for a bomb. And also, you should always double bomb. Single bombs are just ass. They almost never work in like amateur IM main and above. Newcomer it can work because scouts aren't the best yet, but as you rise in ranks, you're going to realize single soldier bombs just do nothing and you're just feeding for no reason. So always go in for those double bombs, coordinate with your other soldier. Yeah, so you're preserving your health, you have a bunch of high walls all over the map, just use them, jump off of them, and then go in together. Alright, Pocket Soldier. I'm over here. Pocket Soldier, you crouch and spawn, you're aiming to go out that right side door. Advice for the Pocket Soldier rollout is don't try to go for distance. Going for distance means that you will not get the maximum speed benefit from your escape plan. You are aiming to get below 80 health. So it's okay if you just go straight up, because that's how you do the most damage to yourself. I got out of spawn, I'm at 71 health, this is perfect. I pull out the escape plan, I have the maximum speed boost. So as long as you're below 80 health, you hit the rollout perfectly. Thus, you don't need to go for distance on your rocket jumps. You saw I just walked through two, dropped down, walked forward here. Around this rock is when you take off your escape plan. Oh, I resubbed. Anyway, so around this rock is when you take off your escape plan, just continue walking forward, and your medic should arrow you, and then you have crit heals coming into mid. So your medic should then heal you to 300 as well. As soldier, a play that you can do is instead of rocket jumping immediately, you just come over here, shoot across at them, like on the ground, splash them, try to damage them down, soften them up, you know. And you're trying to rotate to the side where your demo man's going. So if your demo's going left, you can just do this as you rotate left, and then take high ground. If your demo's going right, then as you come into mid, you can shoot across, and then take high ground. You'll notice that I'm not going that far with my rocket jump, because if you peek far, you are almost, not exactly, you're almost isolating yourself from your team, and you are presenting yourself as the most forward person on your team, so the enemy team can just focus you down and then you die. So you'll notice that, like, I'm not really going that far, I'm just going onto the high ground in the very back enough so that I can, like, jump, shoot down onto them. That way I'm still with my team, I can rotate with them. Alright, scouts and medic. So scouts, you just crouch and spawn, let your medic heal your demo man. You guys walk forward, through two, drop down, and then right here, very important on process, if your soldier is like right here, try to not be in the same line of sight as him with your medic, because if you're walking in a straight line with your soldier, then your medic arrows you instead of your soldier. So as scout, try to avoid him, go to the side of him. Either side is fine as long as you avoid him. Then on mid, rock is a good starting point. And it's also very powerful for flank scout because it enables your flank scout to immediately jump onto high ground and like contest anyone up here. If your team is going left, your flank scout should then immediately rotate over to the left to catch up to his team. If your flank scout slash any person remains on the right side when your team is going left, and vice versa, if your any person's on the left when your team's going right, then that person is isolating himself. And the enemy team, all they have to do is like send two soldiers, two scouts at this person dies. Because you did not rotate with your team. So even though like you're getting on high ground immediately, you also want to rotate with your team as quickly as possible. Right. Pocket Scout, you're gonna be like trailing behind your demo kind of, and you want to always try to be with your medic because you never know when those soldiers are gonna bomb. Alright. You want to try to intercept those soldiers as soon as you hear they're bombing or soldier bombing or something like that. Be looking up in the sky waiting for a soldier, and then both scouts should be shooting them down. If your demo's going left, you don't really have high ground immediately. You have to rotate through the red crate here, and then you can jump onto high ground on the left. So, some things I notice for pocket scouts is when your team's rotating left and your demo man hasn't really gotten across yet, you can die if you go too fast, because your team is still behind you, and now you're isolating yourself from your team. So two soldiers can just bomb you, and now you die because you went too fast. So you need to wait for your team to actually rotate through the left side before you can also jump up to the high ground. All right. Yeah, so that's the rollout and like very start of the mid fight. Are there any questions about that? Okay. Oh, someone unmuted? Chocolate unmuted? No, that's Bobe Goat Medic, never mind.
No, I'm just saying because of all the silence. I'm just
Yeah,
beautiful. So in general, just try not to go too far ahead or stay too far behind to get caught out
yes. Uh,
at any class.
a tip for Medic is if someone is lagging behind and they aren't really rotating that quickly, you no longer concern yourself with them. They are dead to you. If they
Yep.
are not rotating with your team, you no longer worry about them. You only worry about the people that are rotating with you. What is this medic crit heal thing? Okay, so if you guys didn't know, if someone does not take damage for at least 10 seconds, they get healed at an increased rate, and that's what's known as crit heals. At 10 seconds of taking no damage at all, this includes self damage, fall damage, enemy damage, any damage whatsoever. If you don't take any damage, you get healed at double the speed. So normally, if you take damage, you only get healed at 24 health per second. After 10 seconds, you get healed at 48 health per second. And that linearly increases until the 15-second mark, at which point you get healed at 3 times the speed, so 72 health per second. So you guys just need to remember, if you don't take damage for 10 seconds, you have crit heals. Alright. That's the mid fight. If there's no other questions, I will be going on to talk about defending last, and then we're going to make our way outwards all the way to their last. Alright, so defending last, there's two situations here. We either are even Ubers, or, sorry, not even Ubers. Everything is even, so like even numbers, even Ubers, stuff like that. Or we are on some sort of disadvantage. So that could be Uber disadvantage or numbers disadvantage. I will talk about the even situation first. If everything is even, how you should hold last is you can have a demo man watching 1 and 2, so it's very common for like demo to trap the shutter door and trap 2. If your demo man is doing that, then you can have your pocket soldier watching 3, and you have your roamer watching 4 and 5. Your medic can stand kind of in the middle of everyone if you trust your team to hold these doorways. This is a very risky position if you do not trust your team to hold these doorways, because a soldier can just, round this corner and then jump onto your medic. So you really need to trust your team to hold these doorways in order to stand here. And the trade-off is it's a very powerful position for medic to stand, because you have access to heal this soldier, you have access to heal that soldier, and if your demo man just walks over here, you can heal your demo man. So you can heal all 3 of your explosive classes so that they can hold their doorways more effectively. To help your medic, you can have an engineer build a gun, like right here, and then build a dispenser right there. So your medic has easy access to health and dispenser armor if he needs it. However, your medic should not just stand in the dispenser. You need to be walking around a little bit so that you can heal people. That's not to say go out of position so that you can heal a person. It's just you have a little more leeway to walk forward so that maybe you can reach him. In general, people go to the medic if they want healed. The medic does not go to the people. So, sentries there. If you're just starting to build up the gun, then the best spot is probably in left spawn here. You just build it right there. Engineer goes back to spawn, get metal, build it up, go back to spawn, get metal, and then once it's level 3, then you move it into position. Heavy can be good, like, right where the sentry is, or up in heaven, or in either spawn door. What the heavy's job is, if you don't have a sentry gun, is standing in the sentry gun position so that your medic is safe. Or on like Uber Disad, you're trying to bait the enemy team to come towards you. That's why you're playing a little bit more into spawn. Then you can back up into spawn if you need to. The other reason why you would have a heavy is because he has the largest health pool in the game, so medic heals him up to 450, and then he can soak up a lot of damage so that the rest of your team is not eating that damage. Then he can walk up to the point and defend it. Sniper is also pretty strong. If you have people holding the doorways, you can have like your sniper come up here. He has this long sight line into lobby. You can like peek in the back of one here, and then you have someone open one door. And then a sniper could also be in 5. That way you have like this sight line to see people's toes on second. You body shot them for 150, maybe you get a kill. And then you can see a bit into upper lobby. You like toes. Spy, in my opinion, not good for defense. It could be good for offense, but when you're defending last, Spy is not the best. Same thing with Pyro. You would only really go Pyro if you were Engineer and your gun just died, so now you're just coming up on a different off-cost to defend last. Alternatively, if you have a gun, this heavy could go Pyro and just reflect rockets so that your sentry gun is harder to kill. So that's a thing that your team can do. But yeah, this is going to be the general setup for defending last. You got your roamer on the left, some sort of turret on the point to defend your medic. Medic's in the middle. You have an explosive class. It's either pocket soldier or demoman. These two are interchangeable. You got your demoman or pocket soldier. Again, these two are interchangeable. So that way, all of the doorways are being held by an explosive person. Your medic's protected and can heal people. So that's what would it look like when everything is even. What about going spy to check for off classes of other teams? Yeah, that's fine. If you guys didn't know, you can go spy, and then if you disguise as an enemy gamer, I don't know if you guys can see my mouse, I think the recording can. If they are using custom weapons, it shows up on the bottom left there. So for example, if they're using L'Étranger, then instead of revolver, it would say that. And then you know, oh, they have a spy right now. And then same thing with sniper. If they're using a custom weapon, it would say it down there. And then you can also press your last disguise button. By default, that's B, to change between the weapons. Excuse me. What is that disguise GUI? Don't worry about that.
Hold up, hold up, hold up.
Yeah, so you can see any custom weapons they have, and if they are on a custom weapon, then you know they are on that class. It's a bit harder if they are using all default, because then you don't know for sure. Alright. Oh, I pressed the wrong button.
You got a bit more explaining the dude than just last holds.
Alright. So that's holding on even. Holding on disad. This would be, for example, when your medic is like 20% because they just died and you're expecting them to push in. So your medic, it wants to be in heaven. Usually it's going to be right side heaven, kind of close to the center. If you have a scout, then your scout is building with the medic. but generally on Disad, it's better to have an off class like Heavy. You have your Demo Man, also in Heaven next to the combo, but he has a trap somewhere, so like on Shutter Door or in 2 or in Lobby, somewhere that he can spot it. And it's going to be usually just these 3 people in Heaven. The rest of your team is spotting forward. So for example, you could have a not roamer, your pocket soldier still in 3 here, so that he watches Lobby, not defend Lobby. All you're doing is looking at it. As soon as you see someone come, you leave, because you do not want to die on your last defense. Your roamer can watch 5, and then same thing, all you're doing is watching Lobby. Once you see someone, you leave. And your passive position as roamer is going to be like up here on this ramp or in left heaven. The reason why we position someone on left heaven is because if the opposing team Ubers in through the right side, your combo wants to rotate to the left. This is what's known as kiting the enemy's Uber. They want to kite away from the Uber. So this roamer is defending left heaven so that your combo has, an easier time rotating over and they have a safe area to go to. If your roamer is not here, then this area is potentially dangerous and an enemy soldier can, oh, that's the wrong button. An enemy soldier can come over here and cut them off.
There's 3.
Yeah.
There's 4.
All right. Engineer, if you have time. Engineer is good because it is a free 7th class, 7th person on your team, the sentry gun, and it forces the enemy team to look at the sentry gun instead of your team. You would not try to keep your gun alive, because if you remain here and continue like hitting the gun trying to keep it alive, then you potentially die with it. And that's not the reason why we have engineer. We just build the gun, build it up as much as we can, go back to spawn, wait for it to die, come up a different off class.
That is situational, though, to be honest.
Yeah.
Some teams are stupid enough not to take out the gun.
Yeah.
Like I've seen, I mean, if your hold is going way too well, and maybe I'd say if a pirate will stuff it, sometimes they can't even get to your gun. So in that case, maybe you can try to keep it up, but if they get anywhere close to you, nah, go back to spawn, bitch.
All right. Sniper is okay if all you're doing is like taking one shot. Sniper in this case where it's disad, if I can get on the correct class, you are more of a fear factor. You are forcing the enemy team to use Uber through the doorway. You are forcing the enemy team to not milk their Uber. That's all you're doing as sniper. You should never try to take more than one shot, unless you're a goated sniper and you hit every shot. Otherwise, all you're doing is making them fear and use Uber early, and then you go back to spawn, come up a different off class.
Yay, heart, my love, heart.
Alright. So, yeah. Combo initially right heaven. Your roamer can peek 5, assuming no one's in there, and then once someone there, he backs up into left heaven. Your pocket soldier, same idea. Peeking in through 3. Once you see someone, you can back up. Alternatively, you can do the same thing here in 1 and 2. So, you watching 1 and 2 while your roamer watches 5. And then once you see someone, you start backing up into right heaven. Now for last defenses, besides all of the off-crossing stuff, Soldier is one of the most powerful people to defend last. So if you are stupid and you try to take a 1v1 or you try to hold an area and you die as Soldier, like, that is a major disadvantage for your team defending last. Soldiers want to try to stay alive, try to preserve as much health as possible. That way, once someone starts capping the point, the soldier is able to bomb towards the point and force those people off. That's the reason why he's the best, because he can bomb anywhere on last almost immediately. Yes, Lady Jamillia. Okay. So for example, your soldier in 1 and 2 here, if no one's pressuring him, he's fine to stay right here, spam across, and then once someone starts capping the point, then your pocket soldier would bomb towards the point, try to get them off. The soldier is going to be the first, if you don't have a heavy, the first responder to someone capping the point. And then if you have a heavy, he would be the first responder. So your heavy would drop down, try to like defend the point as best he can. Your demo man should always be trying to trap the point, because then those stickies are a big deterrence, and the enemy team, if they like stand on the point, you detonate and then you kill them. Alright, so Uber Disad, not much you can do. You just kite the best you can. Your soldiers are defending the point the best you can. Rotate away from the Uber, and then, you know, it's a battle of attrition. The longer they stay in, theoretically, the worse it is for them. So you just play your side of the map and bully them out. If your soldiers ever decide that they want to bomb across into the enemy team, that soldier is throwing. You want to play a battle of attrition when you're defending last on Uber Disad. So you just play your side, spam across at them. Once they start capping, then you bomb those guys. Once they go away, then you also bomb away to your side again. So that's the general gist of how you want to play process last on some sort of disadvantage. Alright, any questions about holding / defending last?
No, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Next slide.
Next slide.
Next slide.
Alright. So pushing forward, we're going to transition into pushing into your second. So pushing back into your second. There's 1, 2, you got upper lobby and lower lobby. So there's 4 different doorways you can go through. But realistically, there's only like 2 good pushes, I guess. The textbook Uber push is through lower lobby, because even though you're on the low ground, it's the closest doorway to the enemy team, assuming the enemy team is playing back. Actually, hold on, let me back up a step. The reasons why you would be pushing out are you have significant numbers advantage, which is 2 or more picks, or you have significant Uber advantage. If you don't have either of those, I don't recommend ever pushing out of last. It's just better to wait for the enemy team to fuck up before you attempt to push out of last. So under those conditions, the textbook Uber push is you have your demo man, your medic, and your pocket scout push out through lower lobby. Be careful of stickies along this doorway. That's why normally you Uber before you go through. Like your demo man places a sticky, says use Uber, and then he jumps out, right? So you are expecting on some sort of advantage, you're expecting the enemy team to be playing inside of your choke. So something like that, and then soldiers are somewhere else. That's where you should be expecting them to play. If you can get the medic, then definitely go for the medic. Otherwise, it's okay that you aren't able to get the enemy medic. Just go for people who are caught in with your Uber. Like this soldier, he's on trapezoid. Potentially go for that kill, secure that person. This soldier who's on this fence, potentially go for that person. That way you are converting your Uber into a numbers advantage push going into middle. Otherwise, whatever, you used your Uber to make space, now you guys are on second, right? So that's what the combo is doing. Your demo man's jumping forward, you got your scout walking forward with your medic to try to catch up to him, and then try to kill people who are caught in if you are unable to go for the medic. Any other doorway is fine if you're planning to Uber through them. Just be aware, like shutter, stickies all along this doorway. It's a very enclosed area, so you can get stuffed really easily. 2 here, again, really enclosed area, stickies all along the doorway, soldiers spamming down onto it, pretty hard to get through unless you're Ubering through. Upper lobby, very small doorway, very enclosed area. You have zero vision on the enemy team. Of course, you also have zero vision here, but that's beside the point. Really hard for your demo man to bomb. There's a ceiling above you. So that's why lower lobby, textbook Uber push. If the enemy demo man is dead, then you do not need to fear stickies on any doorway. Any doorway is now viable to walk through. You just have to be careful of these soldiers bombing onto you. Right, so that's the combo. The rest of your team need to clear areas. For example, maybe you have like your pocket oh, that's the wrong color. Maybe you have your pocket soldier here in 1 and 2. You just peek into 1, make sure that's clear. You go through 2, make sure that's clear. You have your roamer or flank scout go all the way through the left side. This is a very common hiding spot right here along this wall and right here next to these barrels. So very important you have someone clear the very left side so that there's no one hiding here. Come through lobby. Now you're clearing this area. Also another hiding spot right here. This one's less common, but you know, good to know about. People clearing areas, right. Then, in my opinion, if you guys fear someone backcapping your team still, you would have your roamer play like up here in upper lobby. So you watch lobby area, you watch upper IT, and then if someone's starting to backcap, you can immediately jump back towards last. Otherwise, if you don't fear backcapping, everyone did their job in clearing areas. What the rest of your team wants to do, the flank scout, the roamer, and the pocket soldier, you want to wait a couple seconds after your team Ubers in, like 4 seconds or something. Your team Ubers in, and then you guys walk through whatever door is closest to you, and you're focusing down people who are caught in. For example, there's some sort of dumbass scout right there in front of the point. The 3 of you should be going for that scout. Try to take 3v1s on people, focus fire people down, secure those kills going into mid. If you're unable to do that, then it's okay. Just take high ground, spam the enemy team out. Oops, let me land on trapezoid there. Like a soldier can land up here, spam down onto the enemy team, force them out of second. Other hiding spots include heaven, upper IT on the shelf. Yeah, right here. Another hiding spot. Scout can just double jump up here, and people often miss it. So if you're a soldier in lobby, you can just splash the roof right there to see if there's someone hiding there. And then Uncanny just said there's another hiding spot right here in upper heaven. So if no one spotted heaven, then could be a good thing to clear out. But if you know that no one went up there, then it's fine. All right. My throat's dry. Give me a second.
No.
All right. So that's pushing out into second. Any questions about that push?
You're rocket shooting.
Yes.
Yes.
What if they have sniper in sewer?
Sniper in sewer. It's a good question. So an enemy sniper, right? Oh, that's the wrong class. Enemy sniper, like in sewer or Al Qaeda or something, and he has this giant sight line in second, and like nowhere is safe, right?
Yes.
What you want to do is once your Uber's over, your medic fears the sniper, right? And your soldiers post Uber should be on second now. Assuming that the enemy team lost players and they can no longer fight second, just have soldier / scout go for that man. He should be unprotected. Just bully him out. Soldier, rocket jump. You are the fastest class in sixes. Get over there. Try to kill him if you can, right? If they have players alive, like your Uber accomplished nothing. All of the enemy team is alive. They have a sniper looking at you. You know, it's not worth it. Unless you get kills soon, it's not worth fighting second. It's going to be a losing battle because a soldier jumping into that sniper, let me get the right color. Soldier jumping into that sniper is protected by his team. So you sending in one soldier for him, your soldier just died, and he potentially didn't even kill the sniper.
I was wondering if Uber is required when pushing. Do you feel like Uber is like a requirement in most holds when pushing out of process last, or do you feel like you could comfortably dry any particular door?
You can usually.
It's very situational, in my opinion. If you get the numbers kills, like you killed a bunch of people, you don't need to use Uber, right? You just use your numbers advantage to bully the enemy team out. That would be in the case where they fucked up their last push, they lost everyone, so now you guys are just pushing forward.
Sure, if you're pushing into a 6v4 or 6v3 on Uber ad, then
Then yeah, you can
you can try.
attempt to save your Uber,
It'll
and
it
then
I
also
would say
depends.
I would say 6v4 on some lasts isn't good, but on others it's also fine. Like most of the time 6v4, if you're like higher level, I don't see them taking 6v4s. But
It
usually if
depends
you get
on
a
who you
60, yeah,
picked too. If you got a demo and a
yeah,
soldier, then you could easily
definitely.
dry. But
But if you
it's
got
If you got a
scout
scout and a soldier or something, then it's like
or
probably still.
double soldier's even is usually even worse, like because the
Yeah.
scouts
yeah.
just deny you in the Uber.
Mhm.
It's not. So
Oh,
it depends,
it
definitely.
comes with experience though to know
yeah.
when you need to use and when you don't. And
Like if
they're
and with div, like if they're fucking soldiers or if they're scouts or whatever or goats, then you know you probably shouldn't push out. Usually, like I said, an invite, even if they get a demo or something, they might not push out. They might just poke and prod and try to get a force.
Yeah.
It's so situational that unless it's 3v6 where if you don't push out you're retarded, then yeah,
Gotcha.
that's all I can say.
All right. So pushing out. So under the assumption that your team has successfully got out of last and now they're on second, one of my advice is your team should definitely prioritize capping the point. Like if you overextend for a medic, like and not cap the point, right? You leave the risk of them back capping. The longer you don't cap the second point, the bigger the risk is of the enemy team just getting behind you and back capping last. So, it doesn't matter who, I just recommend someone prioritize capping the point, that way the threat of the back cap is no longer existent. Usually it's going to be the flank scout. Alright,
Yes. Agreement.
so that's pushing out of last. Next, we will talk about holding second. So,
Yeah.
Demo Man, watching choke. That is your job. You can stand right there. I've done a bunch of Demo Man demo reviews recently, and a big problem they have is they like to stand in choke when they are defending choke. You don't need to do this. You don't need to stand in choke to defend choke. You can stand all the way back here. Charge up your stickies. You don't even need to charge them. You just land them right there. Put your stickies in choke, spam pipes across. You are defending choke at a distance. If the enemy team walks forward, they're walking forward into your stickies. And that is literally your only job. For the most part. Soldier
Unless
bombs
you're
over your head, that's not your job. Someone in
Yep.
IT, that's not your job. Your job as Demo Man is choke.
Because that is where the enemy team can get to you, and that is not good if they get through.
Your combo will be behind you, like Pocket Scout on high ground, you got your medic nearby, and then Pocket Soldier somewhere around here. Your Pocket Soldier should occasionally jump over to Al-Qaeda to check sewer. You're just trying to flush it out, make sure that nothing funny's happening in here, and then you can go back to your combo if you want to. Standing over by sewer the entire time is something I do not recommend, because you are isolating yourself from your team, and the enemy team, all they need to do is like shoot stickies at you, shoot pipes at you, send a soldier at you, you're caught, you died for nothing. So that's why I say you just jump over there occasionally, peek into sewer, and then you can jump back to your team. Your flank is watching IT. So that's flank scout roamer. You have good high ground right here, however there's a wall behind you, so you still can get splashed by enemy rockets. You have high ground on the enemy team. It should be easy to just like make them leave from the high ground. You don't need to confront them to make them leave. You can stay on your high ground, shoot down onto them. Oh, by the way, people their roamer jumping through choke, that's not your job. Your job is just defending IT. Of course, if you're a scout and you're already outside of IT, then yeah, you can like help shoot the roamer out of the sky. But for the most part, if you're already in here, this is your job, nothing else. If you don't take damage for 10 seconds, you have crit heals. So, say I'm standing here, 10 seconds elapses, I'm like 200 health or something, 150 health, I have crit heals, so I'm going to go back to my medic, call medic, say, hey, medic, give me a quick overheal. Got 300 health, I go back to my position. Something a lot of like newcomers do is they don't get crit healed as much. Like 300 health, 185 health is very powerful, especially if the enemy team, the enemy flank is starting to confront you. If you have that 300 health, that could be, or sorry, that 100 overheal could be the difference between life and death. Alright, so yeah, this is going to be the general positionings when you are defending second, when like everything is even. My rule of thumb is, whoever owns the midpoint sends the first sack. So right now, you guys are just waiting for the enemy team to send their sack in. So they send like a soldier flying through the sky trying to get your medic, you guys kill him, and then one of your soldiers, it doesn't matter which one, traditionally it's the roamer, should attempt to counter sack as quickly as they can. So like get overhealed first, then go in, try to force their medic. The longer you wait to counter sack, the more time the enemy soldier has to respawn. So you're trying to send in your counter sack while the enemy soldier is dead, and then hopefully you respawn at nearly the same time they do. So while your soldier's planning to go for a counter sack, your demoman and pocket soldier should like attempt to draw attention. So like you're spamming to choke, you draw attention to yourselves, and then your roamer goes in while the enemy team is distracted on your combo. That's what's known as supporting your sack. If you just send in your roamer alone without any support,
Yeah,
it's
I'm
going
gonna
to be
get
a lot
fucked
less effective.
I'm gonna get I'm gonna get fucked up. I'm a roamer in an AEM team, and I get fucking rolled if there's no pressure. They all look at me, and I just die instantly. So please, any demos out there, scouts, even pocket soldiers, please pressure.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. Don't worry.
It is
Show
up
if
to
I yeah, please, I beg. I'm gonna die. It's useless if not.
it is
Unless
up
I
to
hit.
your team to
Yeah.
coordinate between each other. Recently with my team, I started asking my roamer to call the pressure just so the timing would work out better.
Yeah,
But
that's actually good.
the combo can also say, okay, we're pressuring now, go for it. It's really up to you, but there needs to be a line of communication between your roamer and your combo.
Yes, definitely.
A lot of roamers like to stay silent, like just because roamer is probably the most solo out of all the positions in the game, but you're still part of a team, and you need to communicate with your combo when you want pressure put out and when you're going.
I would say what I feel like is Pocket Scout or Demo should like your main whoever's main calling, which is usually Pocket Scout or Demo, should call the pressure. And then the soldier goes in off of that call. Because it's just have the main caller do it. It's the most viable option. But yeah, pretty good. Then your roamer calls when they're able to. Or actually you just pressure and then if your roamer can't get anything, meh. I don't know.
So
Has a bit
question
of
was,
flaws.
when are flank scouts supposed to go in for kills? Uncanny kind of question, or Uncanny answered it. I want to also go over that a little bit. Yes, you should not expect to have a lot of kills as flank scout. your priorities as flank scout are going to be staying behind to capture points or supporting people who need support. You're not going to be like going in, rushing into the enemy team. You're mostly
Sure.
just there to clean up and rotate to the side whoever needs more help at the time. So for example,
You're
if like
the
someone's calling, hey, I need help on right side, can someone come over here? That would be you as flank scout. You'd rotate over to the right, focus down whoever the person who called for help is shooting as well. You should, as scout in general, you should be using the rest of your team, so these soldiers and demo man, you should be using those explosive classes as a distraction for to distract the enemy team, I mean. So the enemy team's looking at like your demo man, for example, then you flank, in air quotes, behind whoever's shooting at your demo man and shoot them in the back. That's essentially how you want to play flank scout. Use these people as meat shields and then go in when they're distracted to kill them.
sounds about right.
You as flank
Soldier is
scout are
yeah.
going to be very isolated from your medic, so you will mostly never be overhealed. The only time you're going to get overheal is during downtime when like you're in IT, you wait 10 seconds or something, you go back to your medic, say, hey, give me crit heals. That's one time you would get overhealed. And then the only other time you would get overhealed is if your pocket scout dies, at which point the flank scout becomes the pocket scout for like 20 seconds or something. So whenever you notice your pocket scout's dead, or whenever your main caller says, hey, come over to our medic, then you stick with your medic as a pocket scout, you get overhealed. Otherwise, you're very isolated from your medic, you're never going to get healed that often. So you want to really choose your fights. Don't take 1v1s if you can avoid it, and try to help out whoever needs help.
But you should still go back for like crit heals when you can.
Yes. Alright, so that's defending second when everything's even. Let me quickly go over the passive spots. So this would be like Uber disad or number disad or something. There's 2 spots for medic. The better one is probably in 2, but medic can also stand inside of 1. And then pocket scout's just wherever the medic is, that way you can build up Uber if you don't have it. You got maybe a soldier on high ground somewhere, a soldier on high ground somewhere. Doesn't matter where. Soldier on high ground somewhere. Your demo man is initially placing a trap like in choke or on shutter or something on point. There's a lot of trap potential. And then he backs up to your combo once he places his trap. That way your demo man lives. If you're playing this far forward as demo man, watching your trap, you're gonna die, right? You don't want to die. And then flank scout, you're mostly gonna be utility. So a place that you can be is watching IT. You just spot if someone's coming through there, and then once you hear, hey, they're pushing through choke, then you immediately back up. Or you see that they're all pushing through IT, then you immediately back up. So flank scout's just there for extra vision in an area. So playing in these spots on disad, if you have your soldiers, so let's assume like you're just on Uber disad, everyone's alive, right? You'd have one of your soldiers, wherever they are, bomb the enemy medic as the enemy medic comes in. This is your sack onto the enemy team as they walk through some sort of doorway. That way, you do this, sorry, let me back up a thing. While your team is playing passive, you send in that soldier. Everyone else should be able to get out, right? If someone else dies before, if someone else dies with this other soldier, then you're feeding. The only person who should die is the soldier bombing onto the medic, right?
I love Eric. Eric is GOAT.
Alright, the reason you do this is because
Sorry.
your team is able to back out to last, all 5 of you minus that soldier, right? The 5 of you should be able to get out to last for a last defense, and then this soldier goes in onto the enemy medic either to kill him or force him. That way your team has uber advantage when either defending last or to re-push second. So it's okay to send that soldier in onto the enemy medic to try to do something, because then he can just respawn and help your team defend last when the enemy team comes in. And it's going to be the same thing on every point. If you're playing passive on middle, same thing. You have a soldier on some sort of high ground. Once the enemy team comes in, that soldier bombs onto them. Same thing on their second. You guys are playing passive in choke. The enemy team comes in, soldier bombs onto them.
You can do that for literally any for any point actually.
Yes.
There's usually a spot.
Except for your last.
Yeah, except for your last. That point, nah. There is nothing.
Did you say that like soldiers are really important for last holds? Why would you want to sack one if you're defending last on this ed?
Because
I mean,
he should theoretically be able to respawn in time to support your team to defend last.
I
So
see.
you're tactically sending himself in as a sack onto the enemy team to
free.
potentially get uber advantage now. If he doesn't, whatever, he just respawns on last to help with the defense.
Okay, gotcha.
It's kind of a free sack unless the medic or unless the enemy team somehow finds a way to get past your entire team without getting pressured and Ubers in like 10 seconds after they just got bombed, or like 20 seconds. And yeah, usually there's very few cases I could think of, unless your soldier gets like a 20-second respawn time, which is very weird on last.
Yeah.
Then there's really no case in which he wouldn't respawn by the time they push in.
So to reiterate, just like Uncanny said in classroom chat, he should be the only one who dies. Anyone else who dies with this soldier just fed, and you guys are probably going to lose last now. So the rest of your team, besides this soldier, should be in a position where they are able to leave. If you can, for the other soldier slash demo man, if you can, it's okay to hang around for like 1 or 3 seconds and spam projectiles across at the enemy team to support the soldier who's sacking. If you can't, it's okay. It's better to just live and defend last.
This is why my name is Al Qaeda Associate. It's one of my alts.
Alright.
I die.
So that's
many.
This is holding second on even and passive. Are there any questions about that?
Actually, not really, no.
Okay, so a tip is, soldier, don't bomb in unless that medic fully commits through the choke. If you bomb in and that medic is not there, like he's playing super far back expecting you to bomb, then you just bombed in and got yourself killed for nothing.
Yep.
So my tip is for newcomer slash amateur, don't bomb in unless you actually know that medic walked through the choke point.
Why only newcomer slash amateur?
Because IM players are a lot better.
And they can
Excuse me.
just roll the medic anyways.
Sometimes. The scouts should theoretically also be better.
Yeah. So then it extends to most classes. But not really.
What, so you're just saying at that point it would just be a read on whether you get the med or not, or?
For what?
Like bombing the choke past IM, it would just be like a dice roll,
like
or
the better soldiers would have better bombs. Like I am not a good soldier, so the only bomb that I know how to do is like very telegraphed. Like you just right jump. Oh, I kind of messed it up. But you like right jump, left jump, and then you can only land in choke. Other soldiers can like make more distance.
Yeah, I can if you want me to. I'm Goat, don't worry. I am Baba Goat. Like, I've done fucking jump maps constantly for 1,500 hours. I know all the jump tech. There's multiple ways to get to choke if you really need to know.
My recording is not set up to capture other people's screens, so I'm just going to move on.
Yeah. But there is multiple ways to reach choke.
So no questions about pushing, defending, then I'm going to be talking about pushing into mid. And again, it's going to be the same reasons, numbers advantage or uber advantage. So there's 3 doors here. There's sewer, there's choke, and there's IT. Sewer is, in my opinion, one of the worst places that your combo can push through. It's an enclosed structure. There's a shutter door here, so enemy demomen can just place stickies on it, and the doorway is so small. So all the enemy team needs to do is like just continuously place stickies there and have both soldiers spam this doorway. And your Uber is going to be so terrible if you try to push through sewer. That leaves only choke and IT. Choke?
IT is a surprise factor, I would say.
Yeah, IT is the closest doorway to the enemy team, but again, it's very enclosed and a small doorway. So IT is going to be like the we're going to Uber immediately onto you as quickly as we can kind of door.
Surprise factor door, and if they're not surprised, you don't get shit because you're now on low ground and you are not near them.
The other reason why you might push through IT is because their combo is holding close to choke, and also what Uncanny said, it's good if you're trying to avoid sniper sightlines, but what I'm trying to say is if they're holding choke, instead of like going through choke, you can just come behind them to cut off their exit. And then what Uncanny said is if they have a sniper, this is a good way to avoid the sniper sightline, but again, very enclosed area, they see you coming, they spam this doorway, so you're going to have to use Uber through here anyways.
Just realized what's funny about a sewer push is you actually have to give up some sort of space in order to do it. Unless you want your pocket watching choke, which actually would be better, never mind.
So pushing through choke, if you know the enemy team is close, then you can just Uber through choke and, you know, get your demo man to jump forward, follow up with your scout, and then try to kill them. Otherwise, choke, assuming they don't have a sniper, you can attempt to dry push through. Try to save your Uber for as long as possible before inevitably getting forced if you do get forced. But choke, it's kind of easy to just walk in without using Uber. First thing you want to do, assuming you are not trying to use Uber, you'd send your pocket soldier through, turn around, check to see like there's no traps or anything hiding here. And then also you can look above the awning there. That is a very common hiding spot for the enemy roamer. So that's what your pocket soldier would do. He would just, you know, just jump through choke, turn around, see if anything's there. You can also just, you can also do a double jump to go a bit faster. That way you might avoid any stickies that are there. So you just turn around, see that, clear this area, and then jump back if you want to. You don't need to stay there. In fact, you should not stay there, because the enemy team can and probably will focus you down, and then you die if you stay there. So all you're doing is pocket soldier, clearing the way, checking for any traps, jump back to your team if you want to. Meanwhile, so if you're still trying to dry push, after that, after your pocket soldier does all that, your scout and demoman can walk through this area, take more space. Like demoman traps off high ground or shoots a cross point at them, scouts walk forward, soldiers take that high ground, etc. You're trying to bully them out. There's a guy above here that your soldier did not take care of, then your team wants to focus that guy down or force him to leave. Your medic should be extremely cautious here. Pushing through any sort of doorway or choke point is very dangerous for medic, because this soldier right here, if you just blindly trust your team, he jumps forward, gets onto you, and then you die if you're not prepared. There could also be a sniper in the forward spawn door. He has this sightline into choke, so you need to have your combo look at that area, make sure that there's no sniper peeking this area. So medic, my tip is you just wait and choke for a little bit, even like maybe behind choke for a little bit, until your team gives you the go-ahead, and then you can walk through. Right. So what your flank wants to do, someone on your combo should be looking at this area. It could be pocket soldier, it could be pocket scout, doesn't matter. You just want to make sure that someone clears sewer before you push through choke. That way your flank doesn't need to worry about it. And then your flank can come in through IT just to flush out this area. The sink right there, common hiding spot. Boxes, I don't know if you can stand there, but if you can, common hiding spot. Around this
Hiding.
corner, common hiding spot. So it's important that your flank clears these areas as they're pushing through IT. Your roamer doesn't necessarily need to go through there. I think it could be good if your roamer pushes through choke, because then you can just immediately get onto high ground. But up to your roamer what he wants to do. If your roamer pushes through IT, then right here, this is a common trap spot for the enemy demo man. Just splash either corner, doesn't matter which one, just to make sure there's no stickies there, and then you can jump through.
And please do not walk close to it and splash it, else
Yeah.
you will become a main GIF. You will be a part of a main GIF then if you do that, okay? So don't. It's not just the death that's gonna count. It's your fucking pride.
Alright. So, same thing on every push is people who are not the combo are like taking 2v1 or 3v1 against people who are caught in. So if like there's someone caught over here, like a scout for some reason is very far forward, your flank would go in, 2v1 this guy, secure that kill. Person on high ground, not leaving. Your flank would go in, 2v1 this guy, 3v1 with your pocket soldier, secure that kill.
The roamer sucks ass. He's caught in.
If there's no one to kill, no one's caught in, then you can just focus your efforts as soldier forward. Flank scout, you're going to be capping the point, and if you still have some sort of advantage, then the rest of your team, minus the flank scout who's capping the point, can pressure into second. But otherwise, you know, soldiers just take high ground, pressure areas, pressure the choke points, pressure IT, stuff like that. Make sure the enemy team cannot come back into middle. Demo man, same idea here. There's a choke point. That's your job. You cut off choke for the enemy team. That's all you do. Someone bombing over your head, not your job. Someone in IT, not your job. Someone sewer, that can be your job. You can shoot stickies over here to make sure he doesn't go through that doorway. But choke, this is your domain as demo man. Alright. So that's pushing into mid. I'm gonna assume there's no questions about that and just go on to defending middle. If there are questions, you can leave them in classroom chat or you can just speak up. So defending middle, when everything's even, demo man, like I mentioned, choke, pocket soldier. If you have roamer alive, pocket soldier is going to be watching the sewer door. You can occasionally peek into sewer if you want to. These two people, roamer, flank scout, interchangeable on this high ground. I do recommend this position. Yeah, spotting the doors. I do recommend this position for either of you. It is high ground, and you are watching IT, making sure the enemy team cannot come in unseen. Medic's going to be around Demo Man, same with the Pocket Scout. A thing a lot of Pocket Scouts do in these lower divisions is they think, hey, I can just stand and choke and deal 3 damage chip shots across the map. I'm supporting my team. Don't do that. What you're doing right now when you're standing in choke is you are eating damage. You do not want to eat damage. You want your medic to focus the heal beam on your explosive classes. If you take damage, you are an extra person that your medic has to heal, which you don't want. You don't want to put that pressure on your medic. You want your medic to just focus on the people who are like pressuring for, who are better at pressuring forward. All right. So since you guys own the midpoint, you send in a sack. Traditionally, it's the roamer who goes in for the sack. It doesn't matter. It can be either soldier, whoever is more comfortable with it. So there's multiple ways you can sack. You just say, hey medic, give me 300. I'm going in for a sack, 3, 2, 1, I'm going now, right? So one way is 3 rockets through choke. You land on their medic, but you only have 1 rocket. So it's kind of bad since you only have 1 rocket, but you get a lot of speed if you do it good enough. Another one is just starting in choke. You do 1 jump, or sorry,
You're
I think
bad.
you do it on this wall. 1 jump, 2 jump, you land on the medic with 2 rockets. But it's pretty telegraphed, since you're starting in choke, they should be able to see you. Another one is through Al-Qaeda. If sewer is free, you can just jump through sewer here, or walk through if you want to preserve your overheal, whatever. And then you can do 1-2, land on the medic. A play that I did in the past is I actually, as roamer, did not go for the sack. Instead, I said, hey medic, follow our flank into IT, we're going to pressure them. So we get all of this space since we have the heal beam and they don't. The enemy team starts looking towards IT, and then I say, okay, Pocket Soldier going for the sack now. So they're looking at IT, Pocket Soldier goes in, and then if we can take more space, then, you know, I might come into upper IT, I might send my flank scout behind, stuff like that. Plays to set up for a future sack.
Some teams are sus though and think that you're gonna sack after.
Yeah.
You pressure. We don't have a demo, so it's hard to spam stickies out of choke sometimes.
Just like on second, where we talked about when you're counter-sacking, you want your team to pressure as well. Same thing here. Communicate with your team right before you go for the sack. Say, hey, I'm going for the sack. You give them a countdown like 3, 2, 1, I'm going now. And then you jump forward. Just communicating with your team, allowing them to support you is going to make your sack a lot more successful. Or, sorry, have a better chance of being successful. Alright. So that's middle when everything is even. On some sort of significant disadvantage, the passive positions are going to be essentially either medic and choke, or I heard a long time ago, medic could be back in IT with Pocket Scout. Pocket Scout's always going to be with him. Again, Demo Man places a trap somewhere and then backs up to the combo wherever they are. Soldiers on high ground. Soldier hiding in corner, whatever you want to do. And then right here, all of the doors are being watched, so Flank Scout doesn't really have a role. So, you know, just be wherever you want to be to support your team. You're not going to be doing much when you're retreating anyways, right? So, if you can go for a back cap, then sure, try to go for it. See if you can do it. Otherwise,
Oh,
if you're
damn.
just playing
Oh,
for your
okay.
life, could be better to just play with your medic.
Yeah. Oh damn, a soldier overextended. I'm gonna just. You're kind of like the class that just notices an opening and says, "Oh shit, let me go roll this guy." Oh shit, he double air shot.
Yeah.
That's this flank scout's life.
So
Oh
again,
shit, it's Kobe.
Roamer, wherever you are, you're waiting for their medic to actually walk through choke. Once he walks through the choke, then you can go in, bomb onto him. These other people, like Soldier Demo, spam across, try to soften him up, support your sack, and then leave.
I cannot tell you how many times I have forced or dropped medics in choke. Please, if you are walking into mid, check the roofs to the right. It will help you to not get your medic forced, because I am 90% of the time going to sit on that roof. No one is going to look at me, and your med is either going to die or be forced. Thank you for my presentation.
And then
The
again,
roofs.
that soldier should be the only one who dies. Anyone else who dies is throwing the game. Everyone else should be able to get out.
Yeah, only I'm the one who's allowed to go 1 in 20. Fuck you. If you're going 1 in 20, you're infringing upon my bad KDR, and I do not want that to
1 in
be.
20.
Yeah, 1 in 20. Fuck you. I'm getting the GIF out. I'm putting it in classroom chat. Where is it? Oh, where is it? This one. It's right there.
So,
Where,
any
why isn't it
questions about pushing into middle / defending middle? Any questions about any of that?
embed fail? I am so mad. Please. No. Jesus, Ballin Mars bars GIF.
Alright.
Lamau embed fail.
Then we will talk about pushing second. 3 doorways. Or I guess there's 4 because there's lower IT and upper IT. But I'm just going to count IT as 1 doorway. So there's 3 doorways. IT, choke. I guess there's also 2. Sewer is 1, right?
Sure.
IT, choke, sewer. 3 doorways. 3 different pushes. They are all viable, but 2 of them lead to the same area. Choke and sewer kind of lead to the same area. Sewer is going to be if you want to play it extremely passive, and you're definitely trying not to use Uber. Choke is going to be, we're going to swing it wide, see if we can save Uber, and if they're close, then we're going to Uber onto them. And IT is the doorway where we're just going to immediately use Uber onto them. So those are the different doorways and what they mean.
Long ago, there was 3 great students: Sewer, IT, and
All right.
so stupid.
So again, same idea. If you're trying to save Uber, either through sewer or choke here, you just have your pocket soldier jump through, turn around, make sure there's nothing there, check trapezoid, make sure there's nothing there. So once you do that, you can then just jump back to your team if you want to, or you're kind of safe in this back corner. If someone tries to go for you, they are overextending themselves and they should die. So you as pocket soldier are safe in the back corner by Al-Qaeda if you want to remain here, but you don't need to. The main point of your pocket soldier jumping through is to clear any traps that could be here.
With your body.
After that, same idea. Demo man scout, walk through. You can jump over here as any class. And Demo Man immediately start shooting people off of height. Scout, you are watching the airspace, so if any soldiers start bombing, you will respond to him immediately. Otherwise, your soldiers and Demo Man are going to be the main force behind your dry push. If it's an Uber push, then your scout's going to be the main force. But in this situation here, we're trying to dry push in, right? So Demo Man, Scout, Pocket Soldier all got through. Again, Medic, you're going to be extremely cautious. This is a choke area. You're expecting a soldier to like fall from the sky onto you, so you want to bait it a little bit until your team gives you the all clear. And then you can walk through. The sewer is a little bit different. Traditionally, you're going to go through Al-Qaeda since it's the furthest away from the enemy team. And that way you are theoretically in the most safe position. You do have to be careful of any traps along these shutter doors. So once you walk through here, just immediately look up, make sure there's no traps, and then your medic can walk through. Both of these play out the same. Your Demo Man is like shooting people off of height. Your soldiers are taking high ground to spam them out, and then the rest of your team comes in and just bullies them out. The reason why you're pushing here is because you either have numbers advantage or some sort of Uber advantage, and you're using that to make them fear you, right? So you have the threat of an Uber in their face to bully them out. You have the threat of a 6 versus 4 situation to bully them out. And that's why you're trying to dry push in, try not to use your Uber. If you are going to use your Uber, then there's these 2 other doors, choke right here, for example. You just Uber your Demo Man in, he jumps forward, but make sure as Demo Man, you don't jump too far forward. If you land right here in 1, your medic has no way to catch back up to you. You land right here, your Uber flash fades. The enemy team who's standing right here just like 2 shots you and you just died and got nothing accomplished.
Incredible.
So as Demo Man, you're probably, the furthest you're going to go is like on top of point here. You just like shoot down onto them, trap off any exits, and then your scout and medic catch back up to you. And then you guys walk forward together.
Okay, there's a few things I must say. 1, bullshit skybox plays that no one does. Well, you see, by that time, sure, your team's going to be close, but that's retarded. We're not going to talk about that. And 2, if you notice their entire fucking team just is for some reason not shooting you, or you somehow got your team is already pretty far ahead, then maybe, just maybe, you can go to 1 and catch out something. But that is very rare. Please point 90% of the time, and also you have stickies you're a range class for a reason. So yeah, point. But that 1 has got to be locked off. Bomb that bitch.
All right.
What the fuck, my chair?
No matter which, I'm not even going to talk about IT because you're probably never going to push through IT in Newcomer. You're probably only going to be pushing through sewer and choke here. So, anyways, Soldier, no matter what area your combo pushes through, choke is going to be the most ideal place to bomb through because you have this immediate high wall to your right side. You can go anywhere from right here. You do have to be careful of like any stickies that the Demoman might trap high. Like you jump up here and oh shit, I just died to a trap that was high on the wall. So you do have to watch out for that, but it's going to be very rare. Alright, once your team pushes in, and your like demo's trapping high ground and stuff, it's going to be your job as soldier to take that space. So you can do a high bomb and land basically anywhere you want. You are forcing the enemy team to look at you. And that way, since the enemy team's looking at you, they are not looking at your combo. Your combo can then walk forward. And then rinse and repeat. Your demo man starts shooting sticky ahead of you. You jump forward, take that space, force the enemy team to look at you. Then your combo walks forward. So it's very leapfrog for soldier demo. Demo's shooting forward, you jump in, land anywhere you want, shoot down onto them. And again, single soldier bombs accomplish nothing. Go in together. If your pocket soldier's doing it, or if your roamer's doing it, then you should do it too. But land in different areas. If you're both landing right there, it's going to be really bad.
Gotta love the fade bomb on the pocket and then the roamer committing to get nothing.
Exactly. Flank Scout, you are going to be peeking in through IT. And this is generally going to be the way you push in no matter what. So all you're doing here is just clearing IT. You're just making sure there's no one hiding. There could be someone hiding there, by the way. So you just make sure no one's hiding through IT, and if there is someone here, then you call it out and you just play your distance. You don't want to go into him. Your team is on second. They have the exit cut off. So you're just forcing this guy to walk backwards into your team. You don't need to confront him. Just play your distance, force him out, and then he dies to your team. And then you just walk forward. Oh, I missed the jump. As Flank Scout, you're capping the point while your team pushes forward. Alright, so that's pushing into second. And then I'm going to talk about defending second, and then I'll ask for questions. So, defending / holding second. If you are not in lobby, then where you want to position yourself is essentially like Demo Man on high ground, Pocket Scout on high ground. Your medic's going to be like behind them. You should definitely fear sniper sightlines. Right here, you are in the sniper sightline from 1. Sniper peeks that doorway, you're dead as medic. So the counter spot to 1 is just along this wall. However, you being on this wall means the sniper can see your toes from lower lobby. So you have to back up to avoid that sightline. But now you're back in the 1 sightline, right? So the true spot to not get headshot is just behind the point here. However, if you're behind the point as medic, you have very limited vision on your own team. Your team has to come to you, right? So there's no real good spot. It's just wherever you prefer to stand. Some teams even like to position their medic this far forward in between 1 and 2 because this is also a counter sniper spot. The sniper will never be able to see you if you stand here. However, this is dangerous because soldier coming through 2 just rounds this corner and then shoots you. Soldier in 1 here just opens the if you don't have any stickies, so he just opens the shutter, rounds the corner, and shoots you. So you have to make sure that your team can hold those doorways if you position your medic this far forward.
Blame your soldier.
So combo on point. This is just like a general meeting spot to group up before you plan your push. And once you start planning your push into last / your sack into last, your combo wants to take lobby. So you'd have your medic on the staircase here. By the way, common trap spot. You have to look out for this. Soldier or Demo Man can just shoot both corners here to scatter any stickies. And then you can come
Medic,
in.
why are you so close?
Yeah. Demo Man, you're going to be confronting their Demo Man, who's going to be in this sight line. Soldier, either one could be in 5 confronting their soldier. And then if you have another soldier in here, he can be like upper lobby or something. Pocket Scout's always going to be next to the demo and medic. You will always have someone outside watching 1 and 2. If all 6 of you are in lobby, then you have the threat of the enemy team just coming in unseen behind you, like drop down into lower lobby here, and then get onto your medic. So you always need someone outside. Traditionally, it's either going to be the flank scout or the roamer.
Flank scout meta.
So process last sucks for sacking. It's just complete ass if you're trying to sack into process last. It's just try your best, see what you can do, good luck.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I'm a roamer and there's literally no open areas. Like 5, maybe, but if there's a sentry, you won't get shit unless that thing goes down. And if it's in a good spot, then please just pray to God that you have a good spy or a sniper. Else
Yeah.
you're not gonna do much. Or the enemy blunders like a fucking maiden too, I guess you could say. And
Alright.
you just get rolled.
So before I talk about
Or they get
sacking and
rolled.
pushing into last, I'm actually going to go over the passive spot. That way I just get it out of the way. Medic and choke, pocket scout near... Oh, what the hell? Pocket scout nearby to build if you don't have Uber. Demo man
Yes,
also nearby has a trap somewhere. Soldiers are on high ground or even far back here so that you can get overheal before you sack. And then again, you're just using your flank scout for vision, which he would be looking in like lobby here by 5, and then once he sees them, he just backs up immediately. So this is generally how you would position yourself when you're on some sort of major disadvantage. This soldier, if you decide to play back here, he could be the one that sacks in because he has 300 overheal. So like you stand right here, you got overhealed, and then you just go in onto the medic immediately. Otherwise, doesn't matter. Traditionally, it's the roamer who just bombs in onto the medic once they start pushing in. So that's the passive spot. Now I'll talk about sacking and how horrible process last is.
Yes.
So-
Gotta love it when
Demo man
I
confronting their demo. Medic, the furthest you will ever get is right here if you're lucky. Otherwise, it's okay if you just always remain on this staircase, because you are out of most sniper sightlines. The only sniper sightline you're in is by 5, but you should have a soldier over here anyways, so that should not be a threat.
and that's why your flank scout is always in 1 and 2.
Standing over here is the only true spot to avoid all sniper sightlines, but you are very far forward into lobby, so it's going to be just a little bit harder to escape if you do need to escape. That's why it's okay if you just remain by the staircase here, because then you just have an easy escape route. If you're all the way at the top of the staircase here, there's a sniper sightline here by 3. He just shoots long range and he kills you. That's why you have to make sure that you avoid 3 and 4, and the only sniper sightline is 5. Right. Be careful of this trap, by the way, on the staircase. Another common trap spot. Like, teams like jump on this staircase and then just walk forward and then die to the trap. So you gotta watch out for that. Demo man, I see this a lot. You just confront their demo man wherever their demo is. You spam in that direction. Make sure you always draw their demo's attention. A way to bust into last is they will have a soldier defending 5. So you can have this soldier, doesn't matter which one, and another soldier by 4 get onto this guy. So you're taking a 2v1 onto this soldier. You can even bring in your pocket scout if you want to. Take a 3v1 onto this guy. Secure that kill if you can, or just force him to leave. So now you have cracked open 5. You have all of this space to work with as a team. Common sentry spots are going to be right there in front of the point, right there on point, or in front of right side shutter. So if they do have a sentry gun, you need to spot it, and both soldiers should spam it down any way they can.
Basically, by the way, those 3 sentry spots, the further away from the point it is, the less common it is because it takes longer to set up. So
Yes.
if you're waiting a long time, then you'll see the gun a lot further and further away from the spawn typically, because they're better spots when they're further away.
Yes. Harder to hit, usually.
Usually, unless you don't hold like 3 or some shit. I don't know. Unless your flank's retarded.
Alright. So once you've killed this guy, you have all of 5 to work with. You got down the gun. Usually you kill the gun before the guy in 5. You have all of this space to work with. You're expecting the entire enemy team to be over there by 1 and left heaven. So, your team is just like inching forward as best they can, shooting across. The longer you remain here, the worse it is for your team. So you just need to get your sack off and then have your team leave. So you can have like your soldier come over here all the way. You can go through heaven. Oh, I kind of messed it up because I was doing something different. Can have your roamer come over here in heaven and try to spam across and then commit for the medic. Can have your soldier just jump across in front of heaven, get onto the medic. You got this high wall in between 3 and 4 that you can jump off of, get onto the medic. Just sack it and die, do something. The longer your team remains here, the worse it is for them.
Oh shit, the roamer got behind flank scout. What are you
Alright. You can do what is called a 2-man sack, where you send in your roamer and flank scout to sack in. So,
Innovative.
you send in, sorry, you don't send in. You get your demo man to distract them. Maybe you get your pocket soldier to distract some people on the other side, whatever. And your flank are coordinating. They're calling a time to push in, and they're also calling a target. Target can be anyone, could be medic, could be like demo man, whatever you want.
Whoever's caught somewhere that you can land in, like if the medic's too far back but the demo's close,
Yeah, like demo could be
maybe
there.
he took a stick or something, bomb that bitch, he's dead.
Exactly. So you can have like your soldier jump in onto the demo from like 4 or something, and then you have like your flank scout come in through 1, and you're just 2v1ing onto this guy. If the medic is close, then you could go for that person, but you guys should be on the same page. You should be targeting the same person.
I saw a Technoblade clip, sorry.
Alright. So after you inevitably fail your sack because process last sucks, everyone gets out of lobby. Like, if you're down one person, if you're down more than one person, you get out of lobby. Go back to your like waiting positions here on second, wait for your people to respawn. At which point, if those people who are responding are comfortable on sniper or spy, go for it. Try the off class. In my opinion, sniper is very powerful, being on the offensive side, pushing into process last. Otherwise, rinse and repeat. Keep going for sack, keep going for double sack until something breaks.
There's only one thing that makes process last good. If you have Jay on your team, then you got no problems.
Yeah.
Jay, man. Ugh, bot mode too? I don't know, man. I don't think of myself as a gay man, but damn. When I see Jay's flick headshots, I'd be something clicking in me.
Alright. So, once you get your advantage, somehow, like sniper forced the medic or something, sniper killed medic, or maybe your sack forced the medic, whatever, you have your advantage now. The textbook Uber push is you get your demo man, scout, and medic to push through 3. The reason you push through 3 is because traditionally, the enemy combo is going to be playing in left heaven. So you Uber in through the doorway where they
That's
are.
closest.
That's closest to them. If they're playing right heaven, you Uber through 4.
Think of it this way. You have like 3 invincible players bum rushing the enemy team who can't do shit. And that is going to output, hopefully, unless they beef their shots, the most damage possible, and because the combo is all there, you should get the most picks possible, and the most important picks. So
Yes.
why the fuck would you Uber through 5 into a flank of soldier and demo? There is no fucking point. You're gonna get like 2 picks as opposed to like 3 or 4.
Something
That's
like that,
why
yeah.
Yeah, that's why we Uber into combos and not to flank. You're trying in an Uber, you're trying to get the most out of it. And so you're going to pick the route that leaves you on the enemy team the fastest so that you can kill them the fastest. That's the point of an Uber. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Alright, so your Demo Man, Pocket Scout, Medic are Ubering through the doorway that's closest to the enemy team. Traditionally it's 3, so I'm going to talk about this left side push. Your Demo Man, if you can, it's okay to land on Heaven here, like on the lip, because your combo should be able to catch up to you in time to reflash you. Otherwise, if you failed your bomb or you got knocked back, it's okay to land on low ground here. You just then use the remaining Uber to shoot across the point. Now, post Uber, Demo Man should not be walking forward. In fact, Demo Man should play back. You're going to be like playing right here. And the reason is because post Uber, you no longer want to be the main attention of the enemy team. You want to try to live and use your sticky bombs / pipe bombs long range, right? Sticky bombs to like trap off point, trap off like the edge of point so they can't deny it, and then use your pipes to spam across.
And please, left spawn. If you do not, you're banned.
It's good to trap the spawn doors if you know someone's in there. If they're all outside of spawn, what's the point of trapping it?
That's fair.
Right. So, yeah, Demoman, you play back post-Uber. A common mistake I see is Demoman walking forward trying to cap the point themselves. This is how you lose a last push. That's not what you want to do. You play passive, trap off point, support your team with pipes from long range. Once you've trapped the point, you can say, Scout, can you start pressuring it? And then a scout can say, sure, I'll try, and then gets like on the corner of the point here, caps the point, soldier starts bombing him, soldier lands on your stickies, you kill the soldier with your sticky bombs.
Demo Man knocks stickies off point, you lose.
This scout should not pressure the point if it's not ideal for you to do so. If the entire enemy team is looking at you, it is not ideal to start capping the point. If a soldier is right there, you can stand on this by the way, a soldier. If a soldier is staring down onto you, right next to the point, it is not ideal. You'd only do it if the enemy team is distracted enough and you have the health to do it. If you're 20 HP, it's not ideal. You just back up, say, no, I can't cap the point right now, get healed up, and then you can go back in and try to do it later. Alright, so that's what your combo does. That's what the Demo Man, Pocket Scout, and Medic does. The rest of your team, what you want to be doing is go in through a different doorway, delayed. You should not go in at the same time that your combo Ubers in. Because if you do, like for example, Roamer comes over here and tries to rush right Heaven, you are not in the Uber. You are not invincible. The enemy team is now all looking at you. You died. So that's why you want to come in a little later so that the enemy team is distracted on your Ubered players. Also, you should not be jumping into the entire enemy team. Play your distance. Like, oh, I missed it. Jump on high ground here. Shoot down onto them. They have a back wall. Shoot the back wall. Play your distance. Pester them from the opposite side. Or if that's dangerous, you don't want to do that, just go on the side that your team is also on. Shoot across at them. As Roamer, you have more liberty to jump more forward to take space for your team. But you should not like literally jump onto them. You should be jumping some sort of high ground, shoot down onto them.
Liberty? Freedom? Fuck!
The Pocket Soldier definitely wants to play his distance though. The Pocket Soldier should never jump into the enemy team if he can avoid it. So once like 4 seconds through the Uber, you can like attempt to take left Heaven here, shoot across at them, play your distance, shoot down onto them. Also, cool tip is, Soldier, you can splash stickies off the point so that your scouts can start capping it.
Yep. The way I feel like roamers are direct opposites from pockets. Roamers should never have a situation where they're not near the enemy, but
No.
pockets should never find a situation where they're away from the enemy. where they're near the enemy.
The roamer should be looking for opportunities to bomb in if the enemy team
Yeah.
is weak or distracted. You should
Of
never
course.
bomb into the enemy team if they're all looking at you.
Yep.
So if your demo man hits like 2 random pipes on the enemy
Oh.
team, your roamer can take that opportunity to bomb in and try to clean up on those kills. Otherwise, you're
Yep.
playing your distance, just play some sort of high ground and shoot down onto them.
God, I love roamer. I get to do nothing and then get a cool 3k.
So that's left. It's going to be the same idea on the right side, except you're on the right side, obviously.
Negative KD.
If your team was unable to track the enemy team's Uber, like they somehow got their Uber back and now they are counter Ubering, just leave, right? Your Uber is worse because you used first, and you guys are going to get caught in. So if you see the enemy team use Uber, just get out of there. Fight second, or go back to second, and then plan to repush into last once you're ready to do it. So it's not good to just stay in.
And if they have like, if you're like, I'm trying to think when you can get Uber ad from pushing. Usually it's 20 or 30. If they use late, then you might have ad again. So you just get another free card. Get out of jail. Get into last free card.
Yeah.
Try it again.
So
Get
3 and
Uber
4,
again.
3 and 4 are going to be we're going to use Uber onto them doors. Also 1. I'll talk about 1 later, but 3 and 4, you're using Uber directly onto the combo. 5 door is we're trying not to use Uber door. We're just trying to come in, pressure them, make space over here on the right side, and then once you've made that space for your team, your pocket scout and demo man can proceed to walk across the point into the enemy team and use Uber directly onto them. So your entire team is trying to pressure, take space through the right side. Soldiers can like take right heaven, shoot across at them. Don't ever go into them. Just play your distance, shoot long range rockets across at them. Let your combo go into them. And then while your combo is using Uber, your flank scout or someone can start pressuring the capture point. Your soldiers shoot down on people who land on the point. So that's all good in theory, right? that's what happens in theory. It's hard to do in practice. So going through 1. This doorway is also we're going to just immediately use Uber onto them door. However, it's for a different reason. You go through 1 if either you're catching the enemy team off guard or the enemy demo man is dead. If the enemy demo man's dead, you don't need to worry about any stickies in this area, so you can just walk through for free. You are directly on the enemy team because you're expecting them in left heaven, and then you just Uber onto them. Another reason for going through 1 is you wiped them on middle, and so 1 is just the fastest route into last. One of the fastest routes into last. The other one is through 2. So you go through 1 if like all of the enemy team is dead and you just want to get onto last immediately. Alright. Any questions about pushing last? Or defending second?
Beggars.
Preference. Primaries are all preference.
How use? Oh wait, I gotta ask Anthony. Never mind. Don't answer. Wait. Okay, what about melee though? Is melee preference?
For what class?
It's roamer.
Smooth. It's either Market Gardener or Escape Plan. I prefer Escape Plan. So yeah, it's just preference. But those are the only 2 good ones.
What if I have 200 hours in the Market Garden arena?
Then you prefer Market Gardener.
Goated. Jump Academy Market Gardener Arena was my home once. No longer. They're all sweaty idiots. Literally.
Alright. If there's no other questions, then that's going to be it for this map review.
When is the sultry map review?
During Sultry Week.
Which is?
Week 5 or something? I don't remember.
March 6th.
Wait, really? Like, there's actually like a map week where players play a certain map?
Yes.
Oh, this is my first season of sixes, and I'm an AM, so I actually didn't know this. That's interesting.
Thank you, Jamillia.
Yes. All right.
Thank you.